Hi everyone! So this is a video about objectivity. That is a feature of both academic and formal writing. So academic writing tends to be formal. Formal language isn't necessarily academic, but they are related. And when we write a formal or academic text, we try to be objective rather than personal. So we focus on information rather than you or me as a writer. Now, this leads to other features such as nominalization, which is the tendency to use nouns and adjectives instead of verbs, which is also a way to create passive constructions and so on. So these things are related, but I will explain more about nominalization and passive constructions in another video. So in this video, I'm going to focus mostly on pronouns and which pronouns you should use and which pronouns you shouldn't use, and how you can, if you have a text that is more personal, how you can change it so that it becomes more objective. Because the point is that when you write academic texts, people don't really read them because they want to hear what you think or what you believe. We read academic texts because we want to know facts, right? Which studies have been conducted, what can we learn? And if you want to build up different arguments and come to different conclusions, I want those conclusions to be based on information, on facts. I don't want to sort of personal opinions about things. That's not for academic texts, that's for other kinds of texts. So in general, when it comes to pronouns, the most important thing to remember then when you write an academic text is that you avoid the pronouns I, me, myself, because a reader will normally assume that any idea that is not referenced, like if you don't refer to a specific source, then the reader will assume that it's yours, it's your idea. So it's unnecessary to make this explicit. For example, you do not have to write, in my opinion, this is a very interesting study. And then some students say, okay, well, how should I write it then? How can I say that is my opinion without saying in my opinion? And you could just drop it. You can say, this is a very interesting study. Now, I as a reader understand that this is your personal opinion, unless you say something like, according to, this is a very interesting study. Then I know, okay, this is somebody else's opinion. But if you just write, this is a very interesting study, then I will know it's your opinion. Also, in addition to avoiding I, me, and myself, you should try to avoid you to refer to the reader or people in general. So if you, for example, have a sentence in a more personal text where you say, you can easily forget how different life was 50 years ago. And then I tell you, don't use you. And again, students say, okay, well, how can I write it then? And instead of saying you can easily forget, so instead of sort of talking directly to the reader, you can say, it's easy to forget how difficult life was 50 years ago. So avoid I, me, myself, we, you, our, those sort of pronouns that refer to you as a writer or directly to your readers. So that's important. So let's look at another example. So here we have a sentence. We don't really know what language proficiency is, but many people have talked about it for a long time. Language proficiency, also språkferdigheter. So this sentence is not a good sentence to write if you're trying to write academic, if you're trying to use a formal language. And there are several reasons. First of all, we have the pronoun we. That refers to both the author and the reader. But then we also have very vague expressions. Many people, like who are these people? And for a long time, like that is very vague as well. What does that mean? 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 50 years? So we have to be more precise. That's also important when we use an academic language. So if you look at this sentence then, the question of what constitutes language proficiency has been at the core of many hotly debated issues within pedagogy. You see that we have solved several of these problems. Instead of saying we don't really know, we say the question of what constitutes language proficiency. And then instead of saying many people have talked about it for a long time, we say that this question has been at the core of many hotly debated issues. So we're sort of talking about the question instead of us and people. And I also have added debated issues within pedagogy because I don't think people in general go around discussing what language proficiency is. This is something that pedagogues and researchers and people who are trying to teach language, we talk about it, but I don't think that, if you have a different job, I don't think that's a question you ponder a lot. So I've been more precise than people. And I could, of course, also, if I have specific numbers, if I know how long this has been a hotly debated issue, I could also add that has been at the core of many hotly debated issues within pedagogy the last 20 years, for example. So then I would have been much more specific about time, who are these people, and I've taken the pronoun we, which is very personal, out of the sentence, and I've changed it. So it's more objective, it focuses more on the question to be discussed and not on myself as a writer.